This is A. Western. That ain't even tells it like a TIN. If you like my video, please give a thumbs up and consider subscribe. I'm going to talk to you today about the Real Housewives of Atlanta, season 17, episode 3, Run, Raptures and Redemption. Uh, it started off where it left off where K. Michelle was talking in her hospital room to her friend Kiana about how she did that to herself, did that to herself, getting those silicone injections. And when she said that she already had a butt and she was already curvy, and she don't know why she did that and stuff. Was she trying to expand what she already had? I said, "K. Michelle, you right about that." I said, "Cause I was mad at you when you were saying on Love and Hip Hop Atlanta about you need to get those, you need to get your butt a little bit wider, a little bit bigger." And I said, "K. Michelle, you already curvy. You don't need to do that." And I guess, like she said, her insecurities kind of took over, and she did that. Now she regretting that she did that. And this is a sad tale for for black women, any kind of women. She did a whole thing. I think it was on Barton. She did a whole show about it with Lifetime last year. I couldn't watch it because it got into it. I don't mind them touching on it on Atlanta, but when she was on that, I think it was Boston when she did that Lifetime show. They went into too much great detail, and it was too graphic for me. So I couldn't, even though they put the sign up there that certain scenes might be graphic, I still couldn't watch it. I tried, but I couldn't. So I'm glad they are touching on it on Atlanta and not going in depth. They just touching on it. I'm kind of glad because they would went in depth, and I don't think people would have been watching. Anyway, she said that that her husband is coming to get her, and she was saying that she got to be glammed up because she not leaving the hospital looking all tacky and raggedy. That's not her. That's not her. Her glam team sure was there. And she left the hospital, and her husband said, "You need to be going home and laying down, ready to sit down." Now she went to the spa, and she went to the spa and met up with Phaedra and Porsha, and they was at the spa. And she had said that in our confessional, she said that Shamea came to see her a couple of times. Phaedra sent her some flowers. Porsche came to see her and gave her a nice card and some flowers and stuff like that. So she said she was just so happy that the girls supported her and stuff like that. And then she went to the spot and she was saying Phaedra was saying, "Girl, what happened to you?" And the sister said, "Yeah, what happened to you?" And she said, "Yeah, I'm gonna tell y'all what happened." She said, "What happened? You know, I went and got these illegal butt injections, and I got the silicone in my butt, and don't you know I had surgery from it? But I thought it was because of surgery." And the doctor said, "No, it wasn't because of surgery. It was because I had an infection. I had an infection, and it was leaking. And like I said, I was gonna get ready to go up and sing, and my team had to wash me down because I was all soaking wet, soaking wet." Portia, uh, did you have a miscarriage? And the look on Phaedra and the look on Phaedra and Cynthia's face, they had a shock of look and surprise. And then Kate Michelle was kind of surprised and stunned. And she said in the confession, "Why would you come up and say that, Portia?" She's talking about, did she not know? We talked about it. I talked about it. She told me about she was having problems with her breast, just like I was having problems with my butt. And she knew some of the stuff that I was telling her. Why would she come up with a miscarriage? Did she forget? Is she ignorant? Or is she dumb? Is she dumb? Or did she just misspoke? I'm trying to get to know these women. But I don't say, and I was saying, well, uh, you could kind of put the portion in the dump category because some people have been doing that anyway. But I think in this case, I think she kind of misspoke a little bit and stuff like that. She said, "No, I didn't have no miscarriage and stuff like that." She said, "When you have a miscarriage, and Portia said, yeah, it was sometimes when I had a couple of miscarriages, I didn't bleed at first. It was just a bunch of water, so that's why I thought it was water. No, I didn't bleed, and it wasn't that. It was just water. And they washed me down, and there's a and there's a and then she said, "Oh, let's talk about something different. Let's talk about something else." She said, "Oh, yeah, yeah." And they switched the scene, and the next scene was even though I kind of talked about this a little bit in episode 2, I was trying to go from memory, but Drew went to see Angela at her house, and so they was talking about her daughter, and she was saying that she had got on a better relationship with her daughter, and then her and June got to talking about her relationship with Black, and she was saying her and Black are just friends, and then Angela said you introduced Black as your friend, or are you dating? And then she told Angela they not dating and stuff like that, and Angela said that it seems like y'all dating, and then she was telling Angela about the mommy guilt that she had with her children and stuff like that. And like I said in the other video, uh, I know Jude don't want to do a whole lot of stuff because Biafra gonna use it against her. But nobody believe that lie about that man is just her friend. She knows she going with that man and sleep with that man. But anyway, on to the next scene. And the next scene was I already talked about Shamea and her husband with that rum business. But this time she was in the Skype meeting, and when she had the Skype meeting, she was telling she was telling that man that she got some ideas from the rum deal, and she said by Gerald helping her at first, Gerald decided not to help her this time, so he got a business manager. Her business manager was helping her with the with the brand, and she talking about she wanted to be the face of the run. She started shaking her booty. You could tell where the Africans looking. She shaking her booty, doing that rump thing, and then that business manager was looking funny, and his assistant was also looking funny and stuff. And she was saying, "That's what I want to do. I want to put that on the." And she said, "But since I'm in Atlanta and I'm on the house ride, I want to have like a peach flavor of rum." And that man said, we don't sell, we sell rum down here, but we don't have peaches down here. We don't have no peaches." So, oh, that's gonna be a problem because I want to have a different flavor, a different brand. And then so the business man said, "We can import it." And then he said, "Yeah, something about importing, but you're gonna have to like pay importing fees and cost stuff." And then Shamir said, "Well, me and my business partner gonna talk about it, and we'll get back to you and let you know." And I was saying, "Shamir, that's why your husband don't want you to get no run business over there in Grenada, because y'all got to go through customs and get through all this kind of stuff, and get all these kind of licenses, and especially with the person that we got in that what you call, y'all gonna be paying a whole lot of stuff because he already trying to get tariffs from these companies and stuff." But anyway, uh, I hope Shamia and that run business work out. But to me, everybody wants to say why Shamia is acting the way she acting. She got the money, she got the class, she got the husband. I think Shamia is so used to trying to be the in with the in crowd and the in girl that she's doing in everything. And it's like now Porsha can get away with some of the stuff because Porsha has a personality and stuff like that. And people like her personality. And not to say that Shamia don't have personality, but Shamia, people are tired of you doing every time you do something you twerking. But anyway, on to the next scene. The next scene was the next scene was yeah, the next scene was Pinky and was Pinky talking about her business again, and she was saying that she's gonna go meet up with her business manager, which is a lawyer, to talk about her bankruptcy. So she told her lawyer that she wanna file Chapter 11 bankruptcy, and what is her options. And he told her, well, yeah, you can file uh, Chapter bankruptcy 11. And Pinky was saying a lot of people think when you file Chapter 11 that you broke, but you trying to file so you can rebrand and redo your business. He said, this is the way we're going to go about it, this and that. He said, does your husband know you filing Chapter 11 bankruptcy? She talking about, nah, he don't know. He don't know. He said, why you not telling him? She said, because I want to do this by myself. I want to do this by myself. I know he out to help, but I want to do this by myself. He said, well, you need to, he said, eventually you're going to have to tell him because this is going to come out. Well, once you sign the paperwork, do the paperwork. And people were looking all funny. She said, well, I'll do it. And then it switched to the next scene. And the next scene was, Cynthia. No, yeah, no, yeah. The next scene was Kelly. Next scene was Kelly and Angela and Kelly and Angela and Shamia meeting up at the store. And so she was saying, well, what you doing, Kelly? How you doing? Kelly said, I'm doing all right. So we looking for clothes. He said, what y'all doing? Y'all looking for clothes? He said, yeah, we looking for clothes. And then Shamir said, ooh, this nice gold necklace. I'm like, ooh, that, I might want to buy it. And then Angela said, your girl showed them need clothes. She said, yeah, I'm trying to get them a lot of clothes. And then Shamir said, well, you going to dress them a lot like twins? And Kelly said, that's what I want to do, dress them a lot like twins, because they're twins. And then she said, you know what, Shamir, I had tea with Kate Michelle and Porsha, and so they said, "Oh yeah, how did it go?" She said, "I went there thinking that me and Porsha was going to solve our issues and get our issues, and Porsha gonna come out and tell me that she ain't the only one slept with a married man. I slept with a married man too." And then Anna said, "Huh? What?" And she said, "Yeah, Porsha gonna tell me that." And I told her I ain't never slept with a married man. I told her I don't know where she got that from. She gonna tell me it was Dennis. She told me it was a friend of Dennis then. And like I told her, I ain't got nothing to do with Dennis or her. And I was saying, Portia, you told her to make up that lie on that girl and stuff like that. And then Shamia said, that sounds like something Portia would say. That sounds like Portia something. And then Kelly said, that's why I called her Porsche. And she said, what? You called her that in her face? And I said, I know you didn't call her in that face. And Kelly said, no, I didn't call her in that face. But that's what I'm telling y'all now. And when she said that word like that, you could see Angela ears popping up, ready to go tell, ready to go tell. I like Angela, but Angela is starting to be like Sheree, the bone collector. Bring a bone, give a bone. I mean, she know how to do it much classier than Sheree, but she's taking on the Sheree role to me and stuff like that. Then switch to the next scene, and the next scene was Cynthia and yeah, it was Cynthia. I think it was Cynthia Kelly. Yeah, no, it was Cynthia, Pinky, and yeah, it was Cynthia, Pinky, and K Michelle. And so Cynthia said, K Michelle, I really want to get to know you for myself. You know, I know you're friends with Porsche and this and that. She said, Cynthia, I'm trying to get to know the girls too. I'm trying to get to know the girls too. And stuff like that. And she said, Cynthia, uh, what it is, I was mad at Porsche. She said, what you mean you mad at Porsche? And she said, yeah. And then Cindy said, yeah, I was scrolling across the internet and I saw all these tweets from UK Michelle, all these tweets, and then they had all the girls reading all the tweets, and then Phaedra talking about, I don't know who she called a bimbo. And then Cindy said, I don't think none of the girls in the groups are bimbo. And then Shamia said, I don't know who the bimbo is, but I know it ain't me. And Drew said, I know, I sure I know. And so they had all them flashbacks. And then Portia, Phaedra said, well, she said a bimbo and confident. She said, well, I'm not a bimbo, but I'm confident. So I don't know who she could be talking about. And then so Phaedra said, I really wondering who you was talking about. We wondering who you was talking about. And she said, I was talking about Portia. You said, why you talking? Because I was so angry and mad at Portia. You know, when I get mad at people, I go on the internet. I've been on the internet for years. I always been on the internet. They showed where she had did so many tweets this year. And people were talking about Kate Michelle was doing all them tweets before she even got on the show. But anyway, she said, I'm mad at Porsche. Why you mad? That Porsche gonna tell me that did I have a miscarriage, knowing that I was telling her about them silicones that was in my butt, and the doctor say I'm not gonna be able to get that stuff out of me. I gotta keep on having surgery and surgery. I mentioned it to her. That's what she told me. That she having the same thing with her breast, so her breast be leaking like that too with the water. How you gonna go from that to a miscarriage? And she said, well, K Michelle, Portia didn't mean nothing by. She didn't mean nothing by. She said sometimes Portia just, misspeak, and then her confession, Cynthia said, yeah. Portia speak without thinking a whole lot of times, and sometimes maybe that's bad on Portia, but I think Portia just misspoke. I don't think Portia meant no harm by what she said to K Michelle and stuff like that. And so just as they was talking, Pinky walked in and she said, what's going on? What y'all talking about? She said, yeah, we're talking about what happened to Kay Michelle in the hospital and stuff. She said, yeah, Pinky, I was trying to tell my story because I went to the spa with Cynthia and Portia and all them and Phaedra, and I was telling my story. And I said, when I woke up, when I stood up, I was soaking wet, and I was getting ready to do my performance at the country music award. And Portia's gonna jump out and say, "Did I have a miscarriage?" And I looked at her and I was so shocked. And she said, "Yeah, Portia was wrong. Portia was wrong for saying that. Why did she say that?" And she said, "I don't know." And then Cynthia said, "Wait a minute, wait a minute. I thought we came here. I'm confused. I thought we came here to sell out this to get to know each other. Wait a minute, y'all got to roll this back. I don't think, like I said, I don't think Portia mean that." And people say, "Well, Portia was wrong and she should apologize," and stuff like that. And then so people say, "Yeah, just like Phaerda talking about I eat meat, going around having a rumor of I eat meat. I don't eat no meat. I'm a vegan." And there's a Kate Michelle say, "By the way, what's wrong with Phaedra?" What and then Cindy said, "What you mean what's wrong with Phaedra? All Phaedra do is giggle and laugh and kiki he and stuff the whole time we was at the spot." And she said, "Once you get to know Phaedra, Phaedra was a nice person. Phaedra had a nice personality." And he said, "Well, I don't think so." And then Cindy said, Pinky, since you trying to get to know the girls and stuff, maybe maybe you should be a little bit, maybe you should be a little bit more calm or a little bit more open minded. I don't think Portia or Phaedra meant anything by what they said." And then so Cynthia said, "Kay Michelle, I think you and Portia should talk it out and stuff." And then it went to the next scene, and it was the last scene, and the last scene was Portia had showed up at the restaurant, and she said, "Yeah, what you gonna order?" She said, "I'm gonna order this." And she said, "You gonna order that?" She said, "Yeah." And she said, "Yeah, I'm glad we got to talk and stuff like that." And she said, and Cambridge just said, "Yeah, Cynthia told me I should talk to you about what." She said, "Well, what do you need to talk to me about?" I thought everything was all right, Kim Michelle, Portia said. And she said, "Yeah, I put a lot of text online, a lot of text online." She said, "Yeah, we were trying to find out who was the bimbo." And Kim Michelle said, "I was so mad at you that," she said back in the South, we call you bimbos. She said, "But in other places, they call you the B word." And she said, "You was talking about me, K. Michelle." K. Michelle said, "Yeah, because you made me angry talking about me." And Portia said, "I didn't mean that by saying, I thought you had a miscarriage." Because some people do it. Some people do have, when they have miscarriage, some people do have water and stuff like that, the water break, whatever. And she, "I didn't mean that bad." She said, "But I was just so angry. I just got on Twitter. I got to it." She said, "Well, Kay Michelle, I apologize if I hurt your feelings in any way or any shape or form. I really apologize. I was not trying to do it." She said, "Okay, I accept your apology, Portia." But then in a confession, Kay Michelle said, "Well, I accept the apology, but I'm gonna still be watching Portia and all these other girls." Then it went out. That was episode 3. I'll try to catch up on 3 and 4 next week or whatever. That's all I have for this video. This is A. Wesley. That ain't even tells it like a TI is. I am out.